Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. If you are new here, this is the perfect video for you. I am going to be talking all about Seint's 3D foundation. So what exactly that is, how it's different, how to get started. And if you are looking for a new year refresh for your makeup routine, it is the best place to start. I've been an artist for 4 years now. Over 4 years, 4.5 years. And I can honestly say I love this makeup more now than I even did yesterday. If you are like I was and kind of starting to age and feeling like your makeup is just not doing you any favors anymore, just get to a point where you're like, traditional foundation doesn't sit the same when you get to a certain point and your skin is starting to mature than it did when I was in my lower 20s, right? So if you've gotten to that point and you've even thought about giving cream makeup a try, this is your sign. Don't wait any longer. I'm telling you, it is a game changer for mature skin. Game changer. Want to check it out? Please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for being here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started. If you are new here, you might not know, I like to talk, especially about my favorite subject, which is this makeup. So I tend to be very detail oriented, I guess you could say. I like to give you guys all the information you need to know. And so I'm going to try my very hardest to stick to the basics today and explaining 3D foundation. So if you are brand new, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Seint's 3D foundation, which, let's see. Yeah, it is a completely custom foundation, meaning you're not just gonna look at a chart and be like, I look close to this one. It is actually a combination of shades that an artist will personally match you to in order to get the perfect makeup routine for you, depending on how you like to wear your makeup, the coverage you want day to day, which you can change depending on your mood. If you have any areas of concern that you want extra coverage on, all of those things you would actually tell me in my color match request form. It's in the drop box below the video. That way I can customize your makeup exactly for how you like to wear it. Because I will be honest, this makeup is very different than traditional foundation, and you can get any kind of coverage you want. You can apply it a variety of ways. I truly feel like after all of these years, if I've learned anything, it's that makeup is extremely a personal preference. Everybody has their own preferences, so there's no one way to apply it that is going to be the only way, or just the one way you want to apply it. I show you a variety of methods so that you can try something different every day until you find your perfect routine. That is why you see me doing so many different methods. Even after 4 years, I'm still learning new ways to apply it. So it is so fun. I am just going to show you the basics today of how I typically wear it on a day-to-day, so that way you have a general idea. But then in your color match, I will give you specifics on how I think you should apply it for the first time while you're learning application. So 3D foundation consists of highlights, contours, lip and cheeks, and illuminator. And those are the 4 basic shades that you get matched to. And I say that with air quotes because lip and cheeks are much more universal. So are illuminators, even contours to a certain extent, but highlights, no. And I always try to give my new girls a heads up. They look nothing like they do in the tin that they do on the skin. Also online, they look completely different. And that's because of how highly pigmented they are. But it's a combination of these shades that are actually gonna work for you, depending on how you tell me you like to wear your makeup. So there are a variety of ways I can color match you. There's no one shade I feel like will be your only shade you can wear. You can truly mix and match and probably wear a variety of shades depending on what it's paired with. So that's why it can be extremely overwhelming to try to match yourself. Since this makeup doesn't work like traditional makeup, I highly recommend going through an artist. Don't do what I did. The first time I tried to match myself with a graph on Pinterest, it was not pretty. Okay, but I saw the potential and I kept ordering until I figured it out. And I honestly wear completely different shades now that I understand how the makeup works than I did back then. I promise you can trust me with your face. I've color matched thousands upon thousands of women. And I promise I can help you love this makeup as much as I do. So highlights are mainly what's gonna give coverage. It's kind of what you would think of as like a traditional foundation, concealer, brightener, all of those things. And we use a variety of shades, whether you want color correction or if you need additional coverage, or whether you want an accent brightener to give you that pop and to bring attention to your eyes. So there's various ways you can apply it depending on the type of coverage you want mostly. And then contour, that's what, you've heard the highlight and contour. I'm sure everybody knows what contour is after Kim Kardashian, right? But contour is what gives that dimension to our face. It's what causes us to not have flat-faced all one color, because if you look, we naturally do have dimension in our face. We're just gonna emphasize the natural shadows we already have so that we don't have that flat one color look. And it's gonna add us that shadow, dimension, and sculpt that will make your cheekbones pop and look higher, and it can really, truly change the way our face looks. It's incredible. And since I get asked all the time, you are never too old to learn how to contour. I don't think so. Absolutely not. I got a whole nother level with my lip and cheeks because let's be honest, it's the most fun part about this makeup is mixing and matching, creating new shades. So they're all convertible. They can be used as blush, as lips, and you know what? Some of them can even be used as eyeshadow along with contour. And then we have bronzers, and then our illuminator, which I have a couple different kinds here. We have powder and cream, is kind of what gives us that touch of glow. What in traditional makeup world you'd hear as the highlight. Our highlight actually highlights the face. This is that touch of shimmer that gives our face that glow. Now we have so many other products, but I'm just gonna touch on the basics today. So yes, we have lots of eyeshadows. You can truly start with any size compact in order if you want your full face, if you wanna just start with foundation, but it is designed so that it will save you time in the long run. You can simply open your compact and put on your full face from one compact and not be digging through makeup bags, opening bottles, all of those things. So it's a time saver. It's amazing for traveling. TSA approved. You don't even have to get this out at airport security. It is a game changer. And not to mention, which I kind of mentioned before, guys, cream makeup, if you've never tried it, I will be honest, when I first thought of cream makeup, I thought of like my grandma's old cream compacts. They were always so dry and cakey. These creams are nothing like that. I'll be honest, I've tried a lot of makeup on the market and I've never used anything that's designed quite like this. So the biggest game changer is the fact your skin is going to be more hydrated over time because our creams actually sit on top of the skin and don't let your skin lose water through the day. So if you have dry skin, even oily skin can wear this makeup. And in fact, it will improve your skin over time because it's going to hydrate your skin. And as a skincare junkie and a chemist, I can tell you all the ins and outs of why most people are oily. But trust me, it can help improve your skin. I'll be honest, I tried the makeup because I wanted to look younger. I felt like I was starting to see my makeup settling in all of the wrong places. Traditional foundation, like liquid foundation, truly dries down and sets and evaporates. All the water will evaporate. So what that in turn does is it makes your skin look drier. Dry skin emphasizes fine lines, okay? So the fact that these creams will hydrate the skin, give you that glowy, dewy look, which in turn makes you look younger, that's all somebody had to tell me. And then I tried it and I was hooked. So I urge you to try it if you are thinking it looks too complicated. I promise it is easy, but it is truly unlike traditional foundation. So I always tell my new girls I recommend don't apply it like you did traditional foundation. Then you won't like it, okay? So 9 times out of 10, if somebody tries the makeup and they don't like it, I can tell you exactly what they did, and they applied way too much product. So the fact that these creams are like 30 times more pigmented than a traditional bottle foundation, it's hard to know how much to apply the first time. So that's why I always stress use a light hand. And don't worry, after you order, I actually will send you my tips and tricks email, which actually will kind of walk you through all of the things to avoid or to try upon your first application. So my goal is for everyone to like love it from the first time they apply. And I know that can be difficult since it is different. So I give you all of that before your makeup arrives, so that when you are getting your makeup for the first time, you know exactly what to do and to not do. So you don't have to, I think, why worry about troubleshooting later when you can avoid those things from the very first time, right? So once you're color matched and you drop in all of your beautiful new shades into your compact, you are ready to start. I always recommend putting the colors in your compact in order of application, because once you get these in there, highlights especially, or if you get more than one contour, it's extremely hard for you to be able to look at it and know which color is which. Now, granted, they all come in these cute little 10s. Don't throw at least one of these away. You can simply slide it and pop it in there. And so if you do need to look and see what color, they're on the back of the 10, but if you put them in order of application, you shouldn't need to take it in and out, and dig your finger in the creams, right? Save your 10 lid. It's awesome. Highlights always. I'm going to stress this because I still have people who reverse this. Highlights always go from darkest to lightest when you're applying them, okay? And that is like the #1 rule. If you learn anything from this video with our foundation, you can't apply a lighter color directly to your skin. If the highlight shade is too light for your skin, you're gonna have a host of troubleshooting issues. #1 being that it will emphasize the look of texture. So it will make you look older. It'll wash you out. It'll emphasize pores, wrinkles. It won't blend. And #1 that I usually see, people come to me and are like, the makeup's not lasting on my face. It's just disappearing after a couple hours. And that's actually a color issue. And a lot of people don't realize that if you are using a shade or trying to use a shade too light for your skin, it will wear off really fast. And I wish I could explain why that happens, but it is just kind of the nature of these creams. Like I said, they're very different. And also, if you're using a color too light, you're not gonna get very good coverage. And what you'll notice is that you'll keep having to apply more and more to the same spot. And then you'll come to me and be like, I look cakey. That tells me you're trying to get coverage with the shade too light. We always apply darkest to lightest because darkest is what's gonna give us the most coverage, okay? Brightest will actually, you can wear a lighter shade, but once you apply it over a darker shade, then it will sit on the skin, then it will not emphasize that texture, and then it will actually last where you put it. But the key with this makeup is matching the darkest points of your face first, okay? So when you answer that color match questionnaire for me, you're gonna tell me how you like to wear your makeup, and that's gonna determine how many shades you have. So for me personally, I like a medium coverage, okay? And I have a lot of areas of concern. So if you look at my face, you can tell. Okay, if you look, and you can probably see that even though I'm a self-tanner, I still have darker points on my face than my neck, okay? So my nose as a whole is darker, okay? It's the darkest point on my skin. My cheeks, which I have rosacea, so it kind of fluctuates. Some days I'm more red than others, but my cheeks usually have redness. I've got hyperpigmentation, mostly around my eyes, definitely right there. I've got redness here, redness on my nose, and then I've got blue and purple kind of dark circles around here, a little bit of redness and rosacea right there. I've got it all, okay? I can truly tell you what color corrects best because I have tried them all. So for me personally, I have to use a color corrector to match those darkest points of my face in order for me to then put a lighter shade to stay matching and to get all day wear without an increase of texture, because I'm not going to try to, like, who wants to put on makeup if it's just going to make their skin look worse, right? The whole point is I want this to sit as well as it possibly can over my skin and for it to look like skin, but give me coverage and be glowy and all of those things, right? Okay, so that is my ultimate goal. So in order to do that, I have to match the darkest points in my face first. And for that, I need a color corrector, okay? So I'm gonna show you, and I always get comments about how scary this color looks, but you guys, I can tell you, I've been using this one shade for 6 months. These creams last so long because you use so little. So if you have been using the makeup and you're going through a 10 in 2 weeks, you're applying too much, and I think you have the wrong shade. Because if you truly have the right shade, you will need very little product to get coverage, all right? So I'm just gonna kind of show you this time with my finger, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of tap in so I get an even amount on my finger, and you can tell how warm and orange that looks, okay? But I promise it won't on the skin. So I'm just gonna put a dot on the high points of my face. And a lot of times I will recommend this for my new girls. So high points, and that is way too much, I can tell you right now, but that's okay. It blends in like a dream. But high points of the face are the parts that stick out the most. So forehead, cheeks, chin, and nose. Now I'll have to put more on my nose because my nose is the darkest point in my face, and I know I'll need more of that. Just warm up on my skin. And that truly will make it blend out so much easier. Because the key with using a color corrector is using, like I said, the smallest amount possible. I want the thinnest layer I can just to match my darkest points. And I can always build up coverage from there, but we gotta kind of match that level first. All right, so while that's kind of warming up, I'm gonna show you the 2 brushes I recommend for every beginner. And the reason why is because doesn't even matter the type of coverage you want. If you start with these 2, you can get anything from a light, medium to full coverage finish and do your full face, all right? And that is not the case with all of the brushes, in my opinion. And I find some brushes take a little bit more practice to learn how to use it and not over apply the makeup. And since I said number 1 issue is applying too much, we're gonna start with brushes that will help you not start off that way, right? Okay, so these 2 brushes are what I recommend. This is the blush bronzer brush, all right? And this is the detail brush, okay? So obviously this is like originally designed for blush and bronzer, but we're actually gonna use this for highlight. Can you tell? This is actually the most amazing brush for mature skin we have. There's something about it. If you want an airbrush finish, if you want to really buff it into the skin and get a thin layer, or if you want to build up coverage, you can use this in so many ways, all right? And then I'll get to this one in a little bit, but this is like a game changer for contouring. If you've never contoured before, this brush will be your best friend. It is amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and buff this into the skin. So I'm just gonna take that blush end, so the small end, and we're just gonna do a buffing motion, which is literally small circles, okay? We're not gonna swipe. Truly, if you want to be able to use less product on your face and kind of avoid issues like it ever feeling heavy, cakey, or creasing, you got to use, it's like the motion in the brush. Swiping can result in too much product, even swiping into the 10, swiping on the face. And what I see most of all of people complaining that it's streaking and not giving coverage, okay? So we're going to buff, small motions, small circles, okay? And honestly, these creams blend out so much, it really can be as easy as that is distributing it over a large area. So I only put 1 dot here, but I can easily buff it into this entire area, just enough to color correct. Now, I have very sensitive skin to where like I touch it and the blood flow increases. So as I turn red, that's just because my skin, I gotta give it a minute to settle down. But so this is gonna color correct my redness. It's gonna help me build up coverage. and it is matching those darkest points. So I'm also gonna get more longevity from this makeup. Once I buff it in, I can kind of look and be like, all right, like my nose, for example, it is still dark. I still have redness. It's because I know I need more on my nose because that entire area definitely needs to be covered. So I'm gonna show you, this is how I recommend getting more on your brush. Simply tap. And you can tell I have like a big hole in the middle. That is still plenty of product. With this makeup, you really want to build up in thin layers, okay? Swiping will not give you more coverage, but buffing on a thin layer first, and then I'll show you how to kind of build up coverage from there. Okay, I also have some blemishes. I'm gonna just kind of get a thin layer in that area. Okay, anywhere I want more coverage. Okay, so I have not done my under eyes yet. This is a very big brush. It doesn't really fit in there, right? But I'm gonna show you, your hands are also great tools. Obviously, make sure your hands are clean, and then you can tap in and use that warmth of your fingers, and it really will help kind of distribute the product and get it to kind of melt into the skin even easier. So if you're having any issues with the way it's applying, try your fingers. So I love using my fingers around my eyes since it is so delicate there. I can get really right into where it's the most blue and purple, and I can color correct, okay? Then anywhere I feel like I need a little bit more, I'm just gonna press on. Okay, can you see the difference? That is Magic Mango. I call it magic, it's really just called mango. But it does so much. Okay, I'm gonna use the detail brush and the small end. You can also use this small end for around the eyes if you don't want to use your fingers. I recommend using a smaller detailed brush like this, or the blend brush also has a very small end on the the end that is really good for those smaller areas. So I love using smaller brush also to even out my eyelids. Okay, last but not least, I'm gonna use my finger again, tap in, and just kind of press on a little bit more where I have those spots of hyperpigmentation. So buff on that first layer, and then you can press on more anywhere you want extra coverage. And you don't have to use your finger, you can use a smaller brush. I usually recommend kind of matching the size of the brush to the spot for the best coverage. So that was my color corrector. Can you tell I'm already pulling darker than my neck? I don't know if you can tell because my shoulders are tan, but my neck is not as much, all right? So that shade is the best to color correct all of those issues because my main shade is not, and it does not correct those things. So this is why you need an artist to kind of pick and choose those shades that'll work for your skin, depending on what your concerns are, depending on your overall shade, and depending on the coverage you want. Because not necessarily, like if I wanted the most natural skin-like finish, I would not apply them in this way, and I would give you different instructions, okay? So for my main shade, I need to kind of tone down this warmth, and I'm trying to also even out my skin tone a little bit better and build up coverage. Now, with our contours, you can apply them first. So if you'd seen artists that like kind of paint on their contour stripes first and then apply their highlights, you most certainly can do that. That'll give you the most natural look. So our contours do give coverage similar to our highlights do. They just don't give as much coverage as our highlights, in my opinion. So if you're applying your contour first, obviously anywhere you applied contour, that area will be a little bit more natural. You're not building up coverage. So for me, I had redness here. I also have hyperpigmentation here. So I applied those highlights. I'm gonna apply those highlights first, Then I'll show you, I'm gonna apply my contour. And what that does is it helps my contour not pull as red because I have redness. And it also will kind of give me that extra layer of coverage that I like. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my main shade. Okay, so I'm picking up that same blush brush, okay? And this time I'm not going to tap it on, because if I just put it in one spot, what does that mean? It means I'm gonna have to really work to blend that out and buff it out like I did before. Since I already have everything kind of where I need color correction, I truly don't want to move that product I'd already placed on my face. If I start buffing in my main shade, what that's going to do is it's going to move that product and I'm going to lose coverage where I placed it. Okay, so with this step, we have to tap in directly to our creams. Okay, so like I showed before, we're just going to tap. Okay, we don't need to swipe. We need to kind of build slowly. All right, then we can kind of just tap on our face to kind of distribute the product and build up that coverage. And we're not buffing because we don't want to move that color corrector, okay? We're just gonna keep tapping as we move around, and we're going to build up that coverage with our main shade. Mine is Sandy. So you can tell now I am completely evened out and I've got a good amount of coverage going on. Okay, I will show you how to get it to look back like skin in a moment, but that to me is kind of the same application technique we would do anywhere from medium to full coverage. And the difference between medium full coverage is truly how much product you're applying. Okay, same method, just amount of product. And you'll see I went ahead and put that main shade where I contoured here, but I truly didn't up here where I plan on contouring next, because I really don't have a whole lot around my hairline that I need to color correct. But here, I kind of want to customize it for your face. So if you don't need extra coverage in those areas, you can leave that place blank. You don't have to layer everywhere, but layering will give you more coverage because you're building it up in those thin layers. All right, so now we're ready for contour. Enter the detail, my best friend. I truly feel like this brush changed the game for me. When I first started wearing this makeup, I did not contour this way. And when I discovered this, it made contouring so much easier. So if you're new to contouring, I highly recommend this brush. Here is how to use it. So like I said before, we want to have to blend very little. Okay, so the more we just kind of swipe on the product here, the more we're gonna have to blend it out, and we're gonna be moving that product underneath. So this really is true for those that maybe have hyperpigmentation in that area and are applying their contour, and then they're like, but then it's more noticeable afterwards. I have an entire troubleshooting contour video that shows you how to kind of apply it without doing this motion to blend, okay? We don't need to do this on the face. If you apply it in a certain way, it'll make you have to blend less, and it will make it 10 times easier, and you'll get more coverage. So this is how I recommend to all my lovelies for applying contour, okay? This brush, we're gonna just put it to a 45-degree angle. Our contours are not like our highlights. Our highlights aren't super creamy. They're more like tacky. I don't know how else to describe them. They're designed that way. They're not supposed to be super creamy like some of our lip and cheeks are, okay? Because they're meant to really, you know, stay put where you put them. But our contours are even more so designed that way, that they're really gonna stay put. Like I've gone swimming and came out and like my contour is still like right where I left it. And that makes them more, they're drier. They're designed to be drier so they stay put even more, okay? So what that means, it can be really hard to get it on the brush or to put it on the face and not blend it all away. It's like there is something to learning kind of the consistency of our creams that will make your application easier. This is again why I say there's some trial and error, there's some troubleshooting. So that's why I'm gonna tell you from the very beginning, so it'll save you a little bit of headache, okay? So we're gonna do it at an angle, and since they're drier, we're gonna pounce in with some pressure, okay? I mean, it doesn't take like a ton, but just so we see that we have the makeup on about half of our brush, okay? Now, the reason why I don't swipe in is because when you swipe into our contours, it truly can almost put like chunks of contour on your brush to where you touch your face and you're gonna have more so in some spots than others. And then the only way to blend is to do this, right? So we're gonna avoid that and we're gonna pounce in so we get a nice even distribution of that product. So when we touch our face, all we have to do to blend it is press, okay? So we're not moving product underneath that we already placed, and we're getting the most seamless blend. This is truly how I apply it every time. And people ask me why my contour always looks the same. It's because I always do it this way, all right? So we're gonna start up by the top, kind of mid to top of the ear in this kind of imaginary line from the corner of the mouth up to the ear, okay? We're gonna put this side down where our product is. And then if you look at your face, you naturally have the most amount of shadow back here by the ear, right? So we're gonna touch the face there first because obviously that's where the most product will be placed, right? So we're gonna touch right there, and then we're going to go to this kind of imaginary line down from the eye, and we're just pressing. See? Okay. Now then as we start pressing a little bit more, it will naturally kind of blend in a little bit, but we don't want it in this area. This is like the no zone, right? We don't want a mustache. We don't really want to drag our face down at all. So when it comes to contour, we never blend down. We always blend up. The further you get down here, the more it will not lift your cheekbones, but have the opposite effect, which is pulling it down. So it will kind of shorten your face. We want to kind of lift. So we're just gonna keep pressing, okay? And I'm slowly kind of moving the brush upwards towards my temple, not all the way up to my temple, obviously, but I'm just kind of pressing back and forth, and then I'm slowly kind of moving. So it's kind of getting faded in this like general wedge type piece. Now, if you get to where you're like, okay, I need a little bit help blending, Sarah. Okay, just kind of take your brush and really lightly kind of flick upwards. Okay, now once I feel like, okay, I'm blended about as good as I can without like doing that motion, pick up your other brush. This is one of the reasons why it's so nice to have two, one for highlight, one for contour. And this is gonna be kind of your magic eraser. I'm not putting any more highlight on the brush. I'm simply gonna just kind of press, like tap it along that lower line. It can kind of blur that. Now, I always tell my girls, give yourself a little bit of grace. It takes time to get comfortable with a defined contour. If you've never contoured before, it can be a little bit like, ooh, do I look like I have a stripe on my face, okay? I'm telling you, the first time I did a before and after, it looks like I was wearing no contour. But now I'm like, yes, give me all the definition you can. And then once you put your lip and cheek, it truly makes it look more natural. I feel like it looks more jarring once it's just like, this is it. If I was just like stop right here, but we're not done yet, okay? So tap to blend, okay? We're not gonna do this motion. And we still haven't got to our key factor. I'll show you how to blend in a minute with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side the exact same way, and then I'll show you the forehead. Okay, so when we're contouring with Seint's 3D foundation, I always say like, I don't know which way it is on camera, Do a 3, okay? So we're gonna go along the forehead, under the cheekbone, along the jaw, okay? Noses are completely optional. Probably didn't contour my nose until I was like 2 years in. So you don't have to start there. Foreheads are a great option, especially like when I wear my hair parted down the middle. I feel like my forehead looks huge, right? So contouring your forehead can truly make your forehead look shorter or more narrow, depending on how you apply your contour. But the key is along the hairline, blending into the highlight so you don't have any kind of like definition. We don't want definition on our forehead, just our cheekbones, all right? So when it comes to foreheads, I just kind of put along the forehead, okay? You don't need to go down to the temples unless you're trying to make your forehead look more narrow, okay? If this is a large space for you, then you can go down further. But you just want to blend up into the hairline so you don't have any like weird gaps, and then down into the highlight, okay? So it should be like this gentle ombre, and it should just kind of nicely frame out your face. And there you go. So then jaw lines, okay, same thing. You would have the most darkness back here. So we're gonna start under the ear, okay? And then we are going up under the jaw. Now this is a really important step if you have like a lighter neck and you're really wanting to make sure you don't have what I call floating head syndrome, when your head is darker than your neck. So I go under the jawline. You want to keep it off the side of your face, okay? And you can disguise jowls. There's all these things that you can do with contour. But for now, we're just going to go up under that jawline, and then we're going to pull it down the neck. I have no idea why my dog is whining at me, so if you can hear it, sorry. What do you want? You don't know? No? I swear she just shook her head at me. All right, so we've got our color corrector, main contour on. Now we're gonna brighten. Now again, this is definitely an optional step, but I feel like once I started doing it, I couldn't stop because it truly changed the game. It can really make your eyes pop. And for some people, it's a non-negotiable if, again, you're trying to kind of stay matching. So I am going to go ahead and pick up the detail brush again and the detailed end, the smaller end. And again, this time I'm going into my brightener shade. I'm going to kind of gently tap in with just one side of the brush and start at this upper corner of my eye and kind of just tap on the product. Again, I'm not swiping because I don't want to move all that color corrector. I want to keep that coverage I have on under my eyes. So I'm just going to tap, and I'm going on the side of my nose because I tend to have a wider nose, and this will kind of make it look thinner. Okay, and since I have mature eyes, I am skipping all of that underneath my eyes and just kind of going out like this. Okay, so it's all about that triangle. You do not have to go all the way out here, all the way down here. I skip this part right here, which also gives texture very easily. I'm just gonna kind of tap it in this smaller triangle right here. It's still gonna give that brightness and that pop right here. And then you can pull it up here if you want. I tend to avoid that area as well because that I also have texture. Okay, and then you also can brighten center of the forehead, down the center of the nose, Cupid's bow, and center of the chin. Then if you do have a lighter neck, or if your neck is still pulling a little bit lighter, you can just kind of press on that lighter shade right there. Again, tone it down just a touch more. Okay, so now that we have fully highlighted and contoured, but we are not done blending, this is the point in the process where I love to remove excess. So I do this before bronzer, before lip and cheek, because I don't want to pull that off. So if you are making note of like how to put the colors in your compact, I would say darkest to lightest, highlight, contour. That's all I've put on so far, okay? And then you can do lip and cheek or bronzer. That is completely personal preference if you even like a bronzer. And bronzer is one of those products that can go under the highlight, over the highlight, at the very end if you need it. It can truly be put in anywhere. Sometimes I don't wear it at all. Sometimes I put it on under and after. It's kind of one of those that you can just use to adjust if you feel like you need warmth, because that is the only purpose of a bronzer. So now I'm going to pick up this bad boy. This is the Perfector sponge. This is a non-negotiable the way I apply my makeup. For years, I didn't realize really how it worked or what a difference it could truly make. But now I can't do my makeup without it. So before I even sat down, I got it like completely submerged it under running water, squeezed it out a few times, and squeezed out every last drop of water. Then I dried it in a towel a few times, and it's been sitting out kind of drying as I've been talking. So now it is not too damp, okay? If you've tried one of these before and it's pulling off your makeup, then it was too wet. If you've tried it dry and it didn't do anything, it's because you didn't get it damp. So when you learn how to use this right, and you learn that this one is very different than others on the market, this one's designed to remove excess. Others are designed to apply liquids. So this one definitely is different, and it is the only way you can remove excess if you've applied too much. So if you touch your face at the end and you're like, I feel a little tacky, or you look and you're like, it looks too heavy, which is like right now, this is way too heavy. I don't like my makeup this heavy. Again, it's a personal preference, but this is the only way you can kind of press it into the skin, make it look like skin again, take off excess, okay? So we're gonna bounce it anywhere you wanna kind of press in or blend or take off a little bit. Okay, we're gonna rotate it as we're using it. And I do like a quick pass like over my entire face just to make sure it's blended and I've gotten off any excess. Then I truly concentrate it under the eyes, because that is where I have layered 3 shades and I really want it to sit better, okay? So we want to avoid creasing. So anywhere you might crease, it is key to use this. Do you see how much better it's already sitting under my eyes? This thing is magical. Okay, there we go. It no longer looks heavy. It looks more like skin. Now, since I have mature eyes, as soon as I use the Perfector, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna set that under my eyes. Okay, I do love the powder brush for this because I can control exactly how much powder I am picking up, and that is the key for me to set my under eyes without it looking cakey and without getting creasing and without looking older, right? So, okay, I'm just gonna touch it and then I'm gonna go under the eye in that entire area. Anywhere I want to kind of tone down some shine or set, avoid creasing, okay? You can truly wear this makeup any way you like it, whether you want a fully matte look, you just want to powder very last. If you want a dewy look, if you want a partially matte and dewy look, you can get all of those. I have videos showing you how to get every method, okay? To the fun part, now it's lip and cheek time. So by the time this video airs, this will be a color available. I just got this at a leadership event I haven't got to try it yet and I'm dying. Okay, so this is a new shade coming out on the 17th. So I think I'm going to post this on the 19th. So I should be good. I was not allowed to share it yet. This is Carousel. So lip and cheeks are literally the most fun. I love to mix and match. I love to create new shades. I'm obsessed with changing the shade I wear on a daily basis. I never wear the same shade twice. I shouldn't say twice, 2 days in a row. Let's try this. This is a more frosty shade, which I feel like we don't have anything quite like it. At first I thought it was gonna be very similar to one of the shades we already have, but we truly don't have anything frosty. So some of our lip and cheeks are more sheer. So you gotta know that. I have videos explaining all the lip and cheeks as well. But this one is a gloss and it is a frosty gloss. Pretty, I can't wait. Okay, so I'm going to, again, use that blush brush. I can tell this one's a little bit more sheer, so I'm gonna tap in a little bit more than I probably normally do, okay? And go to the outside apples of the cheek and press that on. Okay, I am tapping to press on so that I'm not moving any of that color. And then I'm going right along that contour line so they kind of fade into each other. Do you see that? Oh, that's pretty. So pretty. Carousel should be available now. And then I am gonna put on just a touch of bronzer. I feel like bronzer is very personal preference. Sometimes I wear it, sometimes I don't. We have multiple shades of bronzers and I like to mix ours with also one of our illuminators just to give it a little bit more of a glow. In fact, it's called Glow. So I'm just gonna kind of swirl into Bella, Glow, and a touch of Heat Waves, which is one of our newest one. And then I use the bronzer end and I'm just gonna very lightly kind of hit certain areas of my face. And I'm gonna go gently over okay, and then again, if you have a lighter neck, definitely bring it down the neck. Helps you stay matching. All right, so last but not least, did I already say that? Is illuminator. So our illuminators, I like to start with the creams. I feel like the creams are the most natural, and if you're new to using any kind of illuminator, I'd recommend it. This is Angel. Now, when it comes to illuminator, it's like the opposite of everything else. I recommend swiping in generously, unlike our other creams. I like to use a perfector and I kind of swipe in numerous times, okay, and load up that perfector. That way, all I have to do is kind of gently tap so it goes contour, lip and cheek, illuminator, right there on that upper cheekbone, and you can see, I don't know if you, hopefully you can see, I know this is frosty, but it adds that touch of a glow. And you can truly use this anywhere you want, whether it's like inner corners of the eyes, under the brow bone. Okay, Cupid's bow, tip of the nose, anywhere you want that touch of glow. All right, let's finish up with lips and then we should be done. Obviously, I need to do my brows and put on eyeshadow, but those are all extras. So I like to grab the multitasker brush. It's my favorite lip brush. And then I'm gonna use the same contour I used on my cheeks, which is Astoria. And I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips. Okay, and then sometimes you can just take one of these and you can apply lip and cheeks with your fingers for less pigment or pick up the multitasker to get even more. Definitely a cooler pink now that I have it on my lips. I can tell. With that frosty. Super pretty. Okay. Last but not least, if you want to kind of lock and load it or a more dewy finish, our setting spray gives a dewy look. So I'd say apply all your creams, then you can spray your face. If you want some of your areas of your face like more matte, you can then just power where you need to. Or if you want a matte look, spray and then powder with like a loose powder very last. Okay, friends, now that I've got my eyebrows on, I feel so much better. There it is. That was the full look, full face look at least with 3D foundation. Whoop, we didn't do eyeshadows. I've got plenty of eyeshadow videos if you want to check those out. I hope that was helpful in kind of learning the basics of 3D foundation, what it is, some little tips and tricks on to avoid troubleshooting, and basic application for getting the best coverage. If you're needing a color match and you're ready to try it, I would be happy to be your artist and help you out. My color match request is in the drop box below the video. You can tell me everything you want from your makeup, all of your personal preferences, anything you think I should know. There are plenty of spots for you to kind of customize that so I can customize the match just for you. Or if you have any questions, just comment below and I'd be happy to help you out as well. As always, thank you guys so much for being here and watching, and I love you guys.